Welcome back to another episode of A Record of My Father. Today we're going to be talking about your method of getting rid of things and why you want to throw my belongings away. So what is that? Does that come from what was that book that came out a number of years ago? The Japanese book
Yeah.
where you look at an item and you say, "Oh, like," and you kind of do a you look at its lifespan and if it makes you happy or not. You look at each item, and if it doesn't, you throw it away immediately. Do you do
Yeah.
that? What's your system? What's your system of decluttering?
I don't really have a system. I have a for me it is I've stopped buying stuff, stopped adding to clutter. I look in my clothes closet. I think it's funny as we're jumping into this topic that this is one of those times where Zach made up the topic and he just threw it at me as he started the thing. So he just wanted to see if I could just bullshit for 30 minutes without any prep. And evidently, we're going to find out. Anyway, uh, I look in my closet periodically. I get in the mood, and it's just like when I want to buy clothes. If I feel like I need something, I will go and I will do it and I will overdo it, and then I'll come back. And then when I'm in the mood to get rid of things, I will go in the closet and just like haven't worn this, haven't worn this. I mean, I have stuff that I haven't worn for 3 years, and it's like, why do I keep that? Let's give it to somebody that can wear it. And everybody's like, well, you probably need it next week. And it's like, no, I won't. I didn't need it the last, 250 weeks. Why would I need it next week? And if I did, I'll go buy it again. You know, I mean, it's like, forget it. I'm just like, I'm done with keeping stuff. And we're just going through everything that we can to make it, uh, uh, the place is getting emptier and emptier, you know?
Which is good. I mean, the garage used to be a nightmare. I remember
Yeah.
that. That used to be crazy. All these half empty oil cans and everything like that.
Yeah. The
And now
grenades,
it's
the
a
unexploded grenades was always a problem.
those are bad. Those were really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. We now have a bunch of ditches in the back,
The pins
in the
were
in the
half
far back.
pulled.
Yeah.
I think there was a small man running around in there trying to pull them all out.
Oh yeah, we do. Well, we also have the penguin on the shelf there. You notice that?
Personification was the word that I was looking for. You personify an object and you look at its life. There we go. That's what I was looking for earlier. And
Yeah.
the that I forgot what it was. We'll find the name for that book. But that was a whole movement in the early 2000s to help people
Oh yeah, because
declutter.
people.
It was a huge movement, wasn't it?
Well, just recently, the New Yorker had an item, had a full story, and then Atlantic had a story, and then a couple others had stories about when you die, because we're all these old people. What is it like to go through stuff that's not yours? I mean, I went through my parents' house. My mother's, my father died first, then my mother died. My mother was we moved her to a home, and we went through her stuff. And I am sure that there's huge things that meant something that we just pitched. But we
Here's
we
the
gave it
title.
away, we gave it to
Oh, sorry.
charity. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna chime in real quick, say the title, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering, but it was the author's name that I specifically remember, Marie Kondo. That's what I was trying to
Weird.
Marie Kondo was the one of the
Do you think she lived in a condo and that's why because it was a small
maybe
space and she
spelled
had to take
differently,
the
spelled
stuff?
differently.
Oh,
But yeah, I
okay.
remember your brother had a pallet of ketchup, I think, at the end of his life. And did you end up keeping any of the ketchup or was it
No,
expired?
well, I just remember the meat too was crazy because he had this affliction or whatever you call it. Every time we went into a store, we go in a store to buy beer, and he would go back to the meat counter and he would hold up like New York strip. Look, Miss Mark meat, 2.99, and at 2.99 a pound. It's usually 9.99 and he was just like he was a rabid dog when it came to that, and he would buy it. And he had two freezers at home full, and he was still doing it. And you were like, because it was a deal. And I'm like, but you're never gonna eat it, you know?
That's the extreme couponers at the same time too. You know those
Well, yeah.
people before the back then they cracked down on it, but you would have people go in there with bunches and bunches of receipts and pay for $500 worth of food for what was it, like 2 cents or something, three
Well,
cents
it's
because
not.
it's
Well, it it was rare that anything like that happened. There's a very, very, very few people that put, you know, hours and hours and hours and hours of effort into it to get it to that point. So in essence, a lot of times when people do things, it's like when people make money on their games, the thing, they might as well just go on to 7-Eleven, gotten a job. When you're making
Yeah.
$4 an hour to play solitaire, guess what? You're losing. you you can go make 12 or 15 or 20 at 7-Eleven or Costco or any of the other places for doing the same thing. That's why and you're like, well, it's my downtime. And it's like, well, but it's not. It's not your downtime if you're actually trying to make money from it, is it?
I mean, if it's
You know.
passive income, if you're playing solitaire for fun, if
Yeah.
you're playing solitaire for fun, then it's different. But I don't know. I would think that it depends if you enjoy solitaire. If you don't enjoy solitaire, then it's definitely not
Well,
going to
yeah, I
be.
think and then you worry about the payouts, and then you hear everything's 2 stars, and there's 300 complaints about it, and it's like, I always go back to the adage that if it sounds too good to be true, uh, it is.
That has saved
And
me many hours of life
yeah,
of
well,
wasted time.
and that's from the post office. If you get offers that are ridiculous, hey, if you press this button, we'll give you a new house. Guess what? Don't press the friggin' button because you ain't getting a new house. They're going to take something from you. You don't know what it is. And the more you give them, the more they're going to take. And it's an age old thing that people, and it's just the con, when you think about the con on what people try to sell other people on the different things that you can get for doing nothing. We're doing something that anyone else in the world could do randomly because if they can get you to do it, they can get 10 million other people to do it cheaper. So why would they come to you? And that's the big question, and you have to forget that because I mean, through the years in businesses, we've always had those too good to be true offers, but there was always some open-ended caveat that made us say, oh, nope, ain't going to do it. We'll distribute your product for free. What do you mean by that?
Well, that's
You know?
always like the surveys too that I see online. It's like get paid to take surveys. And then the payout is all complicated and they pay you through some third party website that you need to fill out your social security number for some random thing. And then you need to go
Yeah.
over here and you need to do another whole fill out thing.
Yeah.
And then they need to send you an e-check that you also need to sign up for another website to do an e-check. And it's just,
Oh, yeah.
it's better
So
to
you run
just
it down.
what you were saying before. Every
I
time I hear my friends say that, I'm like, no, no, don't do that.
You're giving out every bit of your personal information, which means they're going to sell it to somebody at the very least for all the forms that you put in. That's what they're going to do.
Exactly.
They
They
get a
make it so
detailed look at you
convoluted.
and do that. Yeah. And I mean, the thing I've done is I used to, I don't do it anymore, is when I'm doing something, if I'm buying cigars or I'm playing a game or I'm doing something like that, I'll say promo code 4. And you look up for a promo code to get 10% off or 20% off or something like that. I would look those up, and 9 times out of 10, they, well, almost 9.9 times out of 10, they didn't work, or the process to get them was really arduous at the very least. You just had to do so many different things to try to get there to get 5% off, and then you got to the end. And the problem is that the more you do, then you finally realize at the end that it doesn't work, and then you're like, wow, I gave you all my personal information. I gave you my uncles and cousins. I gave you all my passwords, and whatever bank account I ever had. And now you're not going to give me $1.47 off. I hate you. You know,
It is always for 47 cents or $1.47 every single
random
time.
click. Well, I mean, the thing is I don't know how much exactly is a click worth, and I guess it depends upon negotiate. But it's like, what's the price? And that to me would be what you would want to try to get people to do is click, 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 click. And also clicking where, like you click on an advertisement is one thing. If you click on a game piece to shoot someone or something or blow something up, that's completely different.
There's also
You know.
the whole time at which somebody, if it's a video,
Yeah.
stays and watches the video because I think every 30 to 45 seconds, YouTube pays like a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
They pay for viewership as well, but they have to
Ah.
stay for a certain amount of time. Well,
Yeah.
there's that fake news guy in Maryland that quit his job to start doing fake news in 2016. And
Hmm.
he was getting millions of clicks a day because of said fake news. But I
Hmm.
think it also depends on how many different ad companies or people who are advertising on your website that you have. So
Hmm.
if you have one click, somebody visits your website and you have six as opposed to one like
Yeah.
advertisements, that's going to be a
Well,
completely
well,
different.
remember,
Wow.
remember that there are two or three companies that control all of the advertising on the web. They are every piece of advertising is run through them. They control every advertisement you see on a Google, every advertisement you see on Microsoft, every advertisement you see anywhere, it goes through them because they're the counters and the clickers and this. I don't remember God, I can't remember the name of it. We ended up one of them, I think it was one of them covered 70%. And the reason I know this is because when we had the business, we were, it was an online business and everybody was online all the time. We ended up we were having we bought everybody we bought the high-end internet access, then we bought the T1, then we were going to have to move to a T3 because it was our bandwidth was clogged. So our developer or CTO said, well, let's just try to block advertisements. We blocked just advertisements because advertisements would pop up and you get a little video running in the background that eats all of your bandwidth. He blocked advertisements one place, and I forget what it is. It's like Adware, or it's a very innocuous company. I don't know the name of it, and it would just take me a search on Google to figure out what it is. But I think they have 70% or 80% market share then. All of a sudden, we didn't have to pay another, $25,000 a month to get another, to expand our internet access because most of our bandwidth was being eaten by ads. Because every time you looked at a site, every time you went to any site, it would populate the sides, the tops, anywhere with these ads. Because what you do is when you set it up, you'd set it up through GoDaddy or HoDaddy or Network Solutions or whatever place you went to. There's a button that you clicked in there that said you would allow advertisement for a 10% discount or whatever on purchase price, and people would do it. So then they would run it through their website. So that's why they basically own the marketplace. And then, I don't think it's changed, but it's a huge thing. When you look at Google gets like, I don't know, is it 30 or 40 billion a quarter in advertising revenue? I mean, it's ridiculous,
Even more
the
so
amount.
today now. Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
crazy.
it's just crazy, you know. And I don't know if it's run through there. I don't know if it's still done that way, but I remember that was something that was the difference between slow internet access and fast was just to block this one thing. And I don't remember what the name of it was, and I can't look at it right now because I don't have capability. Uh, you know,
You know what's
uh,
funny too is I've had ad blocker since about 2010 on my computer, and I refuse to update it because it's stuck at this one version where it does it for free still. And
yeah.
or I guess not 2010, I guess it's 2017, 2016, 2017. But yeah, it still does it for free. And they have blocked so many, and maybe that's why I've had such high speed on my computer for so long. It's because I
Hmm.
don't see ads at all on YouTube or anything like that. I never do.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow.
It's a wonderful thing.
They say Google AdSense, nearly 2 million advertisers and billions of customers, is the number one. Facebook Audience Network ads, that's another. M Media, Apple Advertising, of course, Acknowledge, Yahoo Network, Taboola, EPOM. These are all different. AirPush, I don't remember. Leadbolt. I'm looking at the top 10.
Hmm.
Uh, WebFX. Those are the ones when you look at like the ads at that point. I remember it was just if I remember correctly, it was ADWARE, Adware, and that was the key to did all advertising at the time. Uh, but if you block Google Ads, I wonder if that would make Adware. And it was a simple thing. The only thing is that if you're a salesperson and someone wants to look at someone else's product, you can't because it was all the advertisements were blocked. you'd try to go into their service and you couldn't look. So it was,
Oh, that's interesting.
mhm. Yeah, but it stopped everything. I mean, we had so many funny things there. I remember we were getting the bandwidth eat up in early March once again. And I'm saying that we had to jump from one level of internet access to the next. And it was going to cost us like, you know, I think it was around 20 or $30,000 a month to go to the next level. And we were sort of reluctant because, hey, nobody likes to spend what's 3 times 12, 360 grand a year on something that you can't really see. And it's just going to make the service exactly the same. So we started noticing that when sporting events came on, everybody was watching them individually on their computer on the side that worked in the company, you know?
Huh.
So everybody was watching the NCAA playoffs. And so we could have gone around and blocked it and said, piss on you, you scumbags, blah, blah, blah. You can't do it. We bought 6 TVs. We put them around the inside. We turned the sound off. We let people change the channels and put on what they want. We had a break room. We had it in there. If you actually are really serious and you want to listen to it, you have to go in the break room. If you just want to watch it, do it here. Do not, and this what this means is we don't want you to watch it on your computer. And everybody was cool. All of a sudden, the bandwidth came back. I mean, and then we would say anytime there was a sporting event, then we had people that would say, "Oh, the Super Bowl's coming," or Super Bowl Sunday. But anytime there was something that was playing during the day, like World Cup or something like that, we would cut on the TVs, and somebody there that was a sports guy would figure it out and say, "We're going to watch this on Tuesday, at 11 o'clock in the morning," because usually it was events that were held overseas, like the well, not the Masters, that's held here, but different times of the day that people would be working and they would want to see it. So we just accommodated it, and I was shocked. I mean, it was like, I think we spent a couple grand on the TVs, and in the end, it was just, and you had people like, wow, I mean, we could have just cut them all off and not spent a dime and just been total dicks. But we did the other, and it was like people actually were happy, and like, that's odd. Why would you?
People
Why
aren't
would you?
happy too. You're going to see an increase in productivity even with the
Well,
TVs.
exactly. That, I
Even
mean, when
with
you
the
thought
TVs,
about
they're
it,
still going to be more productive than they were otherwise because they're still going to try to be watching the game and they're going to try to figure out how to bypass it or something like that.
well,
So it's like, why wouldn't you just
it goes back to
be
my John
nice?
Walters story.
What
Remember
story is that?
the story where I was working construction and we're on the way to where we hop in the truck, and in the morning we usually stop at 7-Eleven, get coffee on the way to the site. And this particular morning, the manager decided, no, we got to get there
Oh, yeah.
soon. I don't know if I told that story online or in
I
this,
can't remember either.
but it was like,
Just go for it.
we skip it. We skip 7-Eleven. Everybody's pissed off because we all got coffee there, and we get our 2 16-ounces, drink one on the way to the job site, and then screw around for 20 minutes and drink the other one, and then start. And then it was asphalt, so nobody really did anything till 10 o'clock, even though you showed up at 7. So we get there. One of the guys, there's a truckload of worker bees. One of them jumps out, runs over to the rotomill, pops off the distributor cap, grabs the rotor, turns, and throws it to the other side of the parking lot. He's trying to throw it into the woods, so it's gone. Puts the distributor cap on, pops it. Then everybody else shows up. Then John goes over to start this machine. This machine gets, at that time, around $600. We got $7 a linear foot, $600 an hour for that. There was the dump trucks were $250 an hour, something like that. So you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars an hour, that all of just the equipment without the people, anyway, or with the side people or whatever it was. He jumps on. They couldn't start the machine. Wouldn't start. He couldn't figure it out. He calls maintenance. The guy comes out to the site, and the site's just a big parking lot because we would park stuff, around the corner in somebody's parking lot and then take it out to the road they were going to work the next day. The guy drives up, hops out of the truck, walks over, and he looks at us first, weirdly, And then he looks at the rotomill. He kind of turns. He walks over. He pops the distributor. He didn't start anything. Didn't do a damn thing. And then he turns around and he walks directly to the other end of the parking lot and he starts doing a circle around the park. Like, how the hell did he know that? And he finds it. He finds it's this freaking big. He finds it. He walks right to it. He brings it back. He puts it on. He puts the cap back on. He turns around. He doesn't look at us. He looks at John. He said, "You better goddamn stop for coffee next time." And I was just like,
It's a lesson in leadership.
John just looked down at the ground like, and that's when I realized the power of the workforce. If you know, we can't, at that point individually, we couldn't have done anything, but it basically was 3.5 hours. So I don't know, 20 grand maybe flushed because of he wouldn't stop for 10 minutes at 7-Eleven, which we weren't going to be doing anything anyway. He was just, I think he was in a bad mood. And then he realized that that was a mistake because we would punish him for it. And we did. And then, and then he didn't say a word. He didn't say a word to us. He didn't yell at us. The maintenance guy just got in his truck with the oil truck and all the stuff hanging off of it and drove off. And it was like, and then we started and we just had the day. And you know what? We stopped at 7-Eleven every freaking day thereafter. Never had a problem. Never.
That's good.
But it was just
no college is going to teach you that.
Yeah, but it was just like, wow. And that's when I realized that I would rather, if you work for me and I can't, like, if I have to look over you every second of the day, you ain't working for me. I'm working for you. I'm just paying somebody extra to be with me all the time, and I need to monitor them. If I have to monitor you, I don't want you. I mean, at least in my management and my skill set or whatever it is. So I saw that, and I kind of carry that through my life, that when I work with people, what can I do to make this team happy was part of my skill set, or as part of my thought process is like, okay, if we got to go somewhere, we got to, like, if we had to go as a team to New York or something like that, we would have a party because they would like that. And, and I'd make sure that they did like that. I wouldn't just do it and have one person that says, well, I don't drink and I don't eat vegan food and I don't do that. Or, you would always accommodate everybody in the group. You wouldn't just, I mean, there were certain leaders that were just very much into making themselves happy and taking the 4 or 5 top people with them and doing that. Whereas I was more of we got to include everybody because everybody's on the team. And it only takes one to stop the process.
A lot of people believe in cultural homogeny too. A lot of those companies where you have everybody that's kind of just a carbon copy of one another. And your company was very different. That you had people without a college education. You had people without a 4-year degree.
Yeah, well, it's all over the place. I think it was about we were strongly focused on ability. And everybody says, "Oh yeah, so you didn't have any diversity. You're all white people." Like, no, we were. I think last count when we got sold to Thompson, the first company, we were 68% minority.
Wow.
I mean, we had
before Thompson.
We had the Ubers.
Before Thompson.
Yeah. It all changed. We had 3 of our top 5 leaders were of color. Asian, Indian, it was a hugely diverse group.
Yeah,
but we set out to do it that way. It was sort of like you had to have an open mind to see things and view things in a different way, because I already know how the old fat white guy views things. Okay, I can get you there when you're 60 or 50. And I can get a modified version of the middle-aged, fat white guy. But what I need to know the rest of the world. I need to know what middle-aged women think. I need to know what Black people think. I need to know what Asian people think. I need to know how they would view my product and what would their ideas be and what is important to them. Because I know what's important to me, but I don't know what's important to them. And it's just like, the ideas that would bubble up would be like, well, yeah. And I don't know how many times during the years I said, I would have never thought of that. But we did it.
I don't know
And
when people
that,
became so disinterested in other people's ideas. I don't know. And
well, I think
when
it's
and their versions of their own reality. I don't know.
profitability.
Well, I think also we're seeing social media and things every day that are
Yeah.
just kind of confirmation bias for your own view on the world.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's all automatically makes you disinterested in other people in general.
You think you're the smartest in the world and everybody thinks you are too, and they all think the same way. And then you start to realize that that's some custom feed that's based upon what you happen to click on at any given time.
Exactly.
Every single person's, I mean, weirdly, every single person's Facebook feed is different, and it's made that way by what you as a person look at. And if
Oh
you
yeah.
hate some particular thing and you hide it, they will stop exposing it to you. So you will miss a slice of the world. Anything. If you stop and you go in and you read something, everything that you read, they will then post more of those things because those are of interest to you. But you will then all of a sudden you will continue to get this tunnel vision, about only looking at stuff that you've looked at in the past that you like, and you won't see outside of that. And it's hard. It's really hard to go like, wow, I need to see something else. I need to look over here. I need to look out there. And and it's like that, I think is a skill set that is unusual for people to be able to admit that they're wrong, and that they will try new things where they know that most likely they're going to fail.
Yeah.
You know,
That's 80% of it. Eight,
and I
90. I
think
would go 95, 97%.
there's not, and it's like failure sucks. I mean, it absolutely sucks. And I mean, I have eaten the shit sandwich of failure. Oh my God, so many times. And, with extra poop too. And it wasn't good. And it was like, but it, and each time I would look at it and, not each time or not in any great way. I would always focus on trying to find something good out of it. Like when we had Veslash, and that was an interesting company, but we got the CTO for our next company from that company, even though that sucked. And then it's like I would move through these different things and go like, oh wow, I never would have met that, and this never would have happened, and we never would have had live Edgar. We never would have been this size if we hadn't done this. If we hadn't done that, which was horrible, one thing after the other. And I've learned so much about like interfaces and data extraction, and by taking chances that failed. You know, I mean, if you're looking for a failure, I'm that guy. I've got many, many, many things that I fail at. The thing that I do is that when I start to succeed, I hammer. And I think I double down on what I'm doing when I'm seeing that, oh my God, there's nobody in front of me. Wow. There's the finish line. I'm I just dump the gas on and just go. Because then it's like, who's to the left? I'm gonna kill him. Oh, who's to the right? I'm gonna throw down my BBs and trip them all and do all that. I'm not cheating, but and maybe that's cheating.
Kind of
But
sounds
I
like
would,
cheating to me.
yeah, I wouldn't cheat, but that's when I would go after the competitors directly head to head. In the beginning, I didn't do that. When we became the leader in industry once and then again, in the SEC research side, in the beginning, we were just like, come look at us, come look at us, come look at us. Then all of a sudden, we're nearly where they are. We're almost there. Try us. Okay, we're as good as they are. Good. Okay, now we're the best. Why would you waste your time looking at that? And then here's 5 reasons. And then we started developing marketing things about how we could basically tell people that our competitors were useless. Just very predatory. Just kill you, kill you, kill you. And that's the way, it works. It
Well, I
works
also think
well.
there's something to be said for the breath of fresh air that when you actually succeed after eating all of
Mm.
those shit sandwiches. And
Yeah.
and you're saying, "Oh, I can finally get past here. I can
Yep.
finally keep going past here after being only able to get here for so long." And I think that there's something about that.
I think that it's great when other people recognize it and they see it. Uh, but for me, I have to say, yes, it's cool when people say, "Hey, you're da, 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 or you did this and now you did that," and it's like, and for me, it's more that I have the memories of the road. It was the path to success, not that little point, whatever it may be. I mean, it's success when you make enough money to survive and put money in the bank is success. When financially, we're only talking about financial success. We're not talking about family success. I feel like my biggest successes in the world are my wife and you, and
Oh,
that's it. I know, no, that's just the way it is. After that, the ability to live indoors, to be okay, and then things just sort of expand after that. So that's for me. But from a financial side, it's like people look at that because I've been at the forefront of starting companies in the early start and running them up and actually then selling them multiple times. So people call that a serial entrepreneur. I don't know, man. Captain Crunch and Crunchberry, whatever. Uh, uh, but for me, it's the trail, it's the path, it's the enjoyment, and the people that. I mean, I in this last venture was working with people that I'd worked with for 30 years. And they jumped from company to company. And they would call me and I would have people call me and say, "Are you doing something? I want to know." I mean, to know that you have people that trust you that much. And I would tell people, I mean, I had one person that was working for the government and they were like doing a really, really well. And I said, don't. I had a number of people that have called me, and I will be very, very direct with you that if you're coming into a sales position or something like that, if the boss is an asshole, I'll tell you straight up, he's an asshole. You're like, you should see the guy I work for now. He's the biggest ass. And okay, well, that's a good, fair trade off. This guy will fire you at a moment's notice. Are you okay with that? If you don't hit the nut, you're gone. If he doesn't like you, you're gone. And they're like, I'll try it. So that knowing where you're going to start and that honesty and that I created with the people that has made me, that's my relationships. That's the fun of the business. And I think that's why they like me and I like them, because I'm direct with them and they're also very direct with me. If I have a stupid idea, they're the first people to set up and say, "God, that's dumb." And
having the openness for people to say that as well at a company
yeah, yeah. Whether you're in
is a
charge or
little
not, who
different.
gives a
Yeah.
shit? You want people to tell you when you're
You want to know that you're
advocating
wrong.
stupid.
You want to know
Yeah,
that you're wrong. You definitely want to know. If something's going to fail. You don't want to just trudge off on that.
a lot of people don't want that.
Oh, yeah. I would say the
I
majority.
didn't see
A
that at the first
large
company
percentage.
acquired us. I saw it a little more at the second company, but they kind of let us go. So that was the first company was they were doing it their way, and a lot of their way had already failed. So I was a big mouthpiece for. So you're going to do the same thing again that resulted in a failure, and you're expecting a different outcome. I mean, I don't want to tell you about the definition of dumb shit, but you could probably look it up, and that's why I didn't last long
It's a
there.
good parable. It's
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Well, I mean,
almost like the one on insanity, right?
yeah, exactly. It's yeah,
The
very
parable
much
of
so.
dumb shitness.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. Well,
It's gonna be on our new
everybody has a
T-shirt.
different way.
Gonna be on
It's
our
so
new
true.
T-shirt.
Wow.
Oh yes, what a great episode. We're wrapping up here. Only got a couple minutes left.
I
Isn't
thought we were
that
going to talk
great?
about bathrooms, man.
It's too late now.
I
Too
guess we're
late
not going to
now.
talk about
Maybe
bathrooms.
on the next one. We could do it
Yeah,
on the next one.
we gotta do an episode on bathrooms. I
But
like that idea.
as always, happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. And
Yeah.
thank you for listening. I think we're going to wrap up here. There's a Q&A section in Spotify. As always, ask us some questions. Ask us some questions or just leave comments. Just leave comments. Don't ask us any questions.
Yeah, just yeah, and Joe, it's okay. You can email us, okay? It's okay. I may have said bad things in the past, and I apologize. But Joe Rogan, it's okay for you to invite us on your show. We have no problem with that. We're up for it. Okay.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.